Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. Ron Paul is discriminated against the privately owned media. You know, this is your own fault. All you libertarians talk about how great the market is. Well, the market has decided that Ron Paul is a little goblin that isn't supposed to get any notice. So, where's your answer to that? It's just not capitalist enough. You know, that's always the contradictions you people have, is that, you know, it isn't true capitalism. Why? Because it doesn't agree with you? Because it didn't turn out quite as you planned? This is capitalism. This is what happens. You know, you get like these 3 companies that own fucking everything. Right now, as we're speaking, YouTube is dictating who can and can't make a video. You know, because no one here is making bomb instructions. And if they were, you can guarantee the FBI would kick down their door and have some questions to ask them. But meanwhile, YouTube thinks it's the Führer of the fucking internet. You know, if Jim Profit is responsible for what Jim Profit posts on his YouTube, then only Jim Profit gets to decide when and if he gets banned. Which is obviously going to be never. But YouTube seems to think differently. YouTube seems to think that despite how they hold no legal consequence for what Jim Profit says, that somehow YouTube is in charge of that sort of thing. That YouTube has rights that predate my right to speak. Where does that come from? Where does that fit into your libertarian ideology? Where does it fit in? You know, you guys need to change your name. That's all I'm going to say about this. I'm sick of hearing the word libertarian. You're not libertarians. You don't believe in liberty. You believe in capitalism. You need to call yourselves the capitalist party. Or, you know, the fuck people in the ass party. Maybe the shit out of luck party, like I said in a previous video. But certainly not the libertarian party. You want to defend liberties? Defend my right to say where I want, when I want. Not just here, but anywhere. In the streets, on the internet, in church, whatever. I have freedom of speech always. Not sometimes, not in certain subject matters, always. And no one can take that away from me. If anyone does take it away from me, it's an initiation of force. And I have the right to initiate force back by your own libertarian standard, but apparently your hands are up in the air, and you're like, whenever the actual event comes up where you guys would be needed. You make me sick. So don't bitch to me or to anybody else about Ron Paul is misrepresented in the media. Nobody cares. Ron Paul's an idiot. Ron Paul believes the same bullshit you do, and it would put us in an even worse position. Because Ron Paul would deregulate the markets and let them just stick spears in our ribs even more so than now. What do you think would happen if the market's deregulated? Do you think, honestly, that Walmart and McDonald's and Apple and all these other big corporations would just disappear just because they are not getting subsidies anymore? No. They get subsidies because the government is paid off by them. But if, you know, by some stroke of luck Ron Paul wins, which does not necessarily represent the role of Congress or state representatives or anything, it just means we'll have a libertarian president. But let's say for 1 minute with this whole country changes and turns into a libertarian majority. What do you think would happen? You think big business would just go away? No. Big business would get even worse because McDonald's would no longer be bound by sanitary laws. Walmart could treat its employees even more like shit because Walmart is already anti-union and, you know, you're not allowed to talk bad about them. So it would get even more draconian. The contract laws would get even worse. Then the terms of service that YouTube expects you to agree to, which mean nothing, would get even more horrific. And they would control the law even more on a state-by-state basis. That's how slavery got to be illegal to begin with. Slavery was built upon the Confederacy, which was states' rights, where it was a lot easier to corrupt the government. Why do you think all these little hick towns are full of hush-hush mob rule? where, like, you know, someone dies, some black guy gets lynched, and you don't hear about it. Because these little towns are easy to corrupt. It's a lot easier to bribe people. So, is that really the kind of society you want? That's what it's looking like. And so I don't want to hear it. I'm glad Ron Paul gets discriminated against in the media. I'm glad all libertarians supposedly get, even though they don't. Many Hollywood stars are libertarians. Angelina Jolie, Penn Jillette, you know, all kinds of news anchors claim to be libertarians. Fox News, half of Fox News is fucking libertarian, but apparently that's not enough for you. It's not enough until every single person in the world is a libertarian to ascribe to your utopian vision, even though you yourself don't believe this utopian because you know better. You're just hoping that if you kiss enough rich people's ass, you'll be one of the rich elite. It doesn't work that way. Wake the fuck up. Either you're extremely stupid or you're evil. You're a sociopath and you like to see death, pain, suffering, poverty, and enforcement. You like to see a boot placed on the necks of every citizen based off, you know, because I'm going to give you a little fact here, and you can research this if you don't believe me. The satellites in space are owned by Google, not by NASA. You know how you get Google Earth? Because a private industry put satellites up in space and is looking through your window. You want to talk about how you're socially conservative? Right now, some Google employee is jacking off looking at you through your shower. And it's a private corporation. What do you plan to do about it? You know, Facebook. I'm sure you have a Facebook. Facebook sells your information to the highest bidder. You have no privacy. All your information is out there. But meanwhile, Facebook thinks it can tell you whether or not you can post. Facebook's threatened to ban me because I've had 2 strikes. So now it's pretty much musical chairs at this point for my Facebook account. But meanwhile, Facebook thinks it has the right to, you know, tell me I can't post when they're just willing to sell that. How would you like it if I sold your credit card information or your mailing address to an ex-boyfriend that was a little psycho or something? I don't think you would appreciate that too much. But if I put on a nice suit, call myself Mark Zuckerberg, and run a little social networking website, suddenly that's okay because you consented to it? Bullshit. So don't give me this crap about libertarianism. I'm sick of it. And that's all I'm going to say. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of people will comment that, you don't know what you're talking about, Jim Prophet. You're just being hateful. Or some other shit. And I'm sure YouTube will give me a strike eventually, because that's what they love. They're drug addicts. They get off on this. They get off on this power. And that's coming to an end. The 99% have spoken, and all of this is going down. That's all I have to say.